Hello, welcome to the video. In this video, I don't know what I'm doing. In this video, I'm going to be building different aesthetics that I have randomly generated and building them in Minecraft. This is part 1 of this series, so subscribe if you want to watch more. I'm going to randomly generate this on a website called Clary, I think. I will put it in the description if you want to generate some random aesthetics for your personal needs, I don't know. Anyway, let's get on with the building, shall we? Okay, hello, voiceover Yosh here. I'm just going to be narrating what happens and talking to you guys because otherwise it might get a bit boring. I want to start off by saying that I forgot to say what aesthetic I got. I got Cricket Hipster, so that is a little odd. Anyways, at the beginning here, I struggled with the block palette because I don't think I have ever done a thing where you lay the blocks out on the ground so you can see what you chose. But I did that anyway. I looked at some hipster houses because I didn't know what one of them looked like, and I found a lot of fancy garden sheds, but they were a bit more eco-homish, so I went with that because it would be perfect for the insect part, which I wanted to do a lot of plants for and a lot of green colours. I really struggled with the first bit of building, which you can see here. I wanted to go with blue and warp blocks so I could make green the accent colour because I thought it would make it stand out more. It didn't. I also wanted to use the warp planks because most of the houses I saw had wood on the outside of them, but I didn't want to use normal wood because I want it to be more exciting and fit with the blue and green block palette. Here you can see me attempting to texture the walls, which is very hard, also considering I've never textured anything in my life. I realised this looked completely terrible, so I swapped it out for green, and I thought this looked a lot better. But then I saw that the warped outer shell thing of the house did not go well with the new walls, so I swapped that out for stripped spruce logs. This did end up looking a lot better, and I am pretty happy with it. I finished swapping out the logs and finished filling in the walls. I realised that this was a pretty good decision on my part because the blue planks would have looked absolutely terrible. I thought that the building would look quite good if I had a greenhouse attached to the side of it, so I added one. I imagined the greenhouse looking a bit like the one from the cat part of the Netflix movie The House. It's a pretty good film and I recommend it to anyone who isn't creeped out by bugs or easily disturbed. It's pretty good and gives me fantastic Mr. Fox vibes. Anyway, I textured the greenhouse and moved on to creating a small garden that wraps around the build. I made this out of grass and plan to cover it in leaves and flowers, so it feels more taken over by crickets and other insects, so it fit the aesthetic I was basing it off of. When I was happy with how that looked, I added a roof. Now, this was going to be made of mossy bricks and cobblestone, but I decided against it at the last second and just used moss instead. This gave it more of an eco-home vibe, where they have grass and other plants on the roof. I then made it look more natural by adding flower azalea leaves and trees. This made it look more overgrown, which is what I was looking for. I then added grass and made the leaves fall off the roof similar to vines. These are then connected to bushes at the bottom. The leaves fell around the house so no side was left empty or flat. I then decided to start work on the windows. It was going to be a basic square or rectangular window, but I decided not to because I wanted the whole house to look part of nature. I then added a doorway and chose a door. I was close to picking the warped door because of the warped blocks I used at the beginning, and the birch door looked quite good but was too light coloured. The dark oak door looked a little too grand for the type of house I was making, so I just chose the jungle door. I then changed the floor and started prepping the inside of the house by adding a ceiling so it could be furnished. I then got distracted and started texturing the wooden beams. I added random spruce trapdoors all the way around, so it didn't look flat. I'd done this sort of texturing before, but not in the way I did on this build. I then thought, hey, what goes well with trapdoors? Buttons! So I chose between spruce and dark oak ones and put them around the house similar to what I did with the trapdoors. I then went back inside and textured the ceiling and lit up the room with streamlights, although I was going to use lanterns or glowstone with trapdoors covering it so to make it look more like a light. Once I placed the lights inside, I went and placed them outside. I made them dangle off the walls, and this made the whole place look really magical at night. It looks great so far. I finished placing the lights all around the build and started integrating moss into the grass around the house so I could place small drip leaves around, along with flowers and grass. I put bone meal on most of the grass, being careful not to use it on the moss because I was aware that it could destroy some blocks on my build if it did. I then placed even more leaves as bushes around to make it look a bit more in nature. I then made a path out of tuff and andesite so it looked better and it was easier to get to the door. I then finally started furnishing the house after a lot of procrastination. I decided to give the 2 people that lived here cyan bunk beds to fit with the colour scheme. I used spruce trapdoors and fence gates to texture it and made it look like it wasn't about to fall. I added a ladder so you could get to the top bunk. I had a look at the build from the outside and decided that it was going to be better than I thought it would. I honestly thought it was going to look terrible and flat when I first decided to make this video. I looked at tables in Minecraft on Google Images and then added vines on the outside. I then added a cooker and added a chimney on top. I debated not doing this because I didn't think it hit with the hipster vibe, but I did it anyway. I messed with how it looked for a few minutes until I was reasonably happy with how it looked. Finally, I added a table and moved it around a little until I found the perfect location. I then added some shelves and added candles and my favourite Minecraft flower, an oxeye daisy. This gave the build more character and made it look more homely. I added a dark green carpet and mixed some moss in with it to give it some texture. I thought about adding lime carpet to the mix, but then I did and it looked terrible, so I didn't. I then moved onto the greenhouse. I made a little patio out of weathered copper and cleaned up how it looked under the glass part by giving a rim of sorts. I then remembered bookshelves exist, so I went back into the main part of the house and added some around. I went back to the greenhouse and added a chair so you could sit down. I filled the rest of the greenhouse with grass and moss and added a few plants similar to what I did on the outside. I made a little pond, added some cod, killed them, and added some tropical fish, and I was done. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I personally think the house came off not hipster enough, if that is a thing, I'm not sure. But I do like how it looked. But tell me what you think in the comments down below. Go follow my Twitch, link in description, and go follow my TikTok, because I'll be releasing shorter versions of these videos if I do more of them there before I do on YouTube, so you can see what happens before I post a video on YouTube. But if you did enjoy the video, please smash that subscribe button. Don't put the bell on, because I don't, and don't put the bell on. Don't. And maybe even hit that like button. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!